Welcome to Savvy Soul-U-Tions with Gina Gayle. Take the journey back to me with a freedom coach and oracle. Find your Soul-U-Tions by joining me, Gina Gayle. Together, we can create a powerful synergy that will take down the walls that surround your heart and allow your emotional being to guide you towards connection and compassion. Feel yourself grow ever closer to remembering who you're meant to be with my 40-day Journey Back to Me program. You have a personal power within you that I would love to help you unlock so that you can achieve your newfound freedom. Savvy Soul-U-Tions with Gina Gayle starts now.
Hey, everybody, welcome. It's so great to have all of you tuning us in and turning us on. This particular show is super uber important. Now, those of you that know Gina, you know about her work. You know we've been talking about the journey back to me, and she's done such a beautiful job each episode we do of laying out different pieces of it, of really showing how you go from here, then to here, then to here, then to here. But even more importantly than that is she has not left anything out. And one of the most important things that gets left out of a lot of different programs, a lot of different coaching platforms, is really to have that emotional connection in that sacred space to be you. And that is something she has perfected. Today, this is the thing that I think I've been reminded of for my life, and I hope you all will be at the end of today, is that spirit, whatever that means to you, the powerful reality of the unseen. Spirit. Today, you're going to hear what Gina Gayle-Gray's journey was like, how this came to her, what the connection was about, but then how does spirit communicate with us to guide us, to direct us? And for those of you out there, this is a benevolent energy. This is a guidance and a direction to a greater good. Even though you might get a setback, which is not a setback, it is a setup for your next level. But today, get ready to explore the unseen and know the power of it. Wow. I'm so glad, Gina Gayle, I'm so glad you're talking about this. This is a cornerstone for you, though, isn't it?
Yes, it is. It is. I have decided to fully commit to the fact that I am stepping out of the cosmic closet. And I just, in the past 6 months, I added to my title as a freedom coach and oracle. What is an oracle? Well, we all have the capability of being an oracle. Oracle is messaging. We know things. We know things, we have wisdom. How do we know things and how do we tap into that? Spirit. And spirit is the answer. It's the answer to the greater knowing. And since I've decided to completely reveal this part of myself and open this path and share this path, I've been following a lot of other people who channel wisdom and who channel different entities and spirits and, whatever you call them. They don't really care what they're called. They just know that once we give them the attention and listen to the silence, they reveal themselves and start communicating with us, right?
Yeah. This is as ancient as we are. Now, it's even more ancient than that. But of course, we can't record what came before us, really. Mm-hmm. But this level of channeling, communication, asking, whatever you want to call it, it is the realm of miracles for everyone, not just the 0.0001% of the people that we have heard in the past got the gift. Right. And I think, congratulations. I'm glad to be part of your coming out party because, look, you and I have one thing in common. We know what it's like to be in the closet. It is, let me ask you this question before we even talk about how did you become aware of spirit. I want to talk to you about this because I don't know what your experience is, But the most discomfort I have ever had in my life was denying my spiritual connection. Now, I don't have good words for it, but how about you? And part of your journey is that you have the gift, you discovered it. How did you go from the closeted Gina Gayle Gray, right? Spiritual, um, let me just call you guide, coach, whatever it is. How did you get from there to this announcement today?
I shed judgment.
Oh,
Because judgment, it's so easy to, oh, they're going to judge me, or that person, or that thing, or that egregore, something's going to judge me or think this of me. And all of that was pretty easy to release, but the self-judgment was the hardest part. And once the self-judgment left, and all of these openings, light started coming through all of the openings, and stopped denying that all of this was real and all of this information was real, and started realizing that it was a gift coming to me, not for me, but for me to transmute and share with others. That's what our gifts are all about. That's what our incarnation is all about. And figuring out what your particular gift is, and then how you want to use it, that's how you find joy. Because when you start doing that, you are in joy. And I learned something just last night. Like I say, I've been following all these other people who are out of the cosmic closet and who are channeling different methods and different spirits and different types of messaging. Heard one last night that once again really opened up some things to me. And this was a person who is channeling a group of Lyrians. And Lyrians are beautiful, highly evolved, very positive, joy-filled, love and light, which is how you know when it's a spiritual being coming to you with a message, and it lifts you up and you feel yourself in that higher vibration. You know that is a good spiritual being sending you a message, right?
yeah.
So what she said was, we are 99% spirit. 99% of us is the unseen. Now, I had to sit up and take note of that,
I know.
because
Did you go like what?
yeah,
Did you go right? Because I'm thinking, I heard you say it, and then I looked this way and I said, whoa.
99%. Okay? So our little self, our physical body that's here to do things, it's very, very important, and it's very important to take care of it. It's very important to honor it and nurture it. But more important now, as of last night, is my understanding of the parts of it that we perceive as physical. They really aren't. For instance, the electrical part of our body. Our electrical systems, very important systems, the heart and the brain, they're run on electricity. Electromagnetic energy is what operates the body. The body cannot function. Now, we can go and be put on a machine, and the machine will do the work for you, but not if it's not plugged into electricity. We are electric. Our mental being is electric. Our emotional being is electric. Our physical body is physical, 1%. So when you expand into that, how exciting is that?
I'll tell you what you're talking about here. And I want you to jump in on this because I don't know how to say this, but I know you do. I know what my life was like without that, and without that connection. And can I say without that awareness? Now, I will say for me at a very young age, I did get that awareness and I was punished for it, but I had it. And I think once you get hit with it, in my case, it was Jesus said something to me about my mom being with him, and my mother superior, her tears come down her face. My mom had just died. And so you get that awareness, but then the years to follow make you think you're losing it, right? But then you get reminded. And then the reminder enables you to really look at what your purpose is, what your calling is. And part of what I don't know that you've said, but it's clear to me that you have been given a gift and a talent to help other people at a time right now where the normal way of helping is not working. Right? If I quote Einstein one more time on one more show, Jacob's probably going to roll his eyebrows right now. But when Einstein talked about not being able to solve the problem at the level it was created, everybody thinks he was talking about mathematics. He was not. What you're talking about is really the true book called The Secret. It's really the secret. Why is it a secret? Because people don't come out like you and me and talk about it, because that takes courage. But you cannot not talk about it. This is your life's path.
That's
You're
right.
here to help a lot of people. Your 40-day program takes people to places of transformation that 10 years of therapy might not take them. But yet you have to come out. Otherwise, what were you telling the universe about yourself there, Gina Gayle Gray?
Exactly, exactly. And my universe, the multiverse, especially now that my son is on that side of it and where he is, or orchestrating all the beautiful things that he's orchestrating in partnership with all of these other spiritual beings, there's no denying, there's no hiding, there's no staying in the closet. This is real. And I want to share with you anyone who doubts or is, still thinks that this is not possible and that these messages aren't clear. And I'm going to share with you a story that just happened. I just spent 8 days in Sedona. Now, anyone who knows Sedona knows the magic of Sedona. And Sedona called to me last year. I had never been to Sedona in my entire life, even though my decorating style has always been Sedona. I've been attached to indigenous culture and all of the art and everything, but had never actually put foot on Sedona until my 60th birthday last year. So this year, I decided to go back for another adventure in Sedona, and I took my daughter with me. So, and it was an adventure. It was beautiful, everything about it, the vortices, the energy, the healing, the people that we had sessions with, everything that we did. And that was the goal of it, was to reconnect with my daughter and to introduce my daughter to these invisible, the unseen part of our being and how important it is, and to help her connect with her brother, because he's wanting to connect with her very badly and she has some resistance to that. So here's the story. We did hiking every day. We went to different mountains, different climbs, different trails every day. The final day, we decided together that we were going to go to Doe Mountain. And Doe Mountain is a mesa. And it's a medium hike. You do a zigzag up the entire mountain, and then you find yourself on the top of the mesa and you see these magnificent views. And so she had worked her energy level up to, yeah, we can do this. We're going to go conquer this. So right before we left, I said, Alexis, I want to draw spirit cards, because that's part of my practice. I draw spirit cards for my clients. And the way that I draw spirit cards, I always draw three. And the first card is always from our spirits. And in my language, my use of the word spirits, in my program, spirits are those that we knew as human beings. So the first card I always draw is from our spirits, people that we knew as humans who want to give us a message. The second card is always from our guides. And again, in my language, a guide, a spiritual guide, is anyone who, when you sense their messaging or sense their presence, it is in front of you. And their message will be guiding you forward into your next step. And the third card is always from our guards. So our guards, we call them the guardian angels. They got your back. They're behind you. You feel their presence behind you and you feel their support.
Boy, do you ever.
Sometimes they're pushing you. Sometimes they're nudging you. If you're going to go skydiving, they might be the ones that go, it's okay. But we got you. We got your back no matter what. So anyway, so Alexis patiently waited for me to draw the cards, and I had drawn cards for her earlier in the week as well. So this is important to the story. So I do my 3 cards. First card from spirits, second card from guides, third card from guards. Turn over the first card. The card is Deer Spirit. We're going to climb Doe Mountain. Doe is a female deer. And the message of the card is gentleness, sensitivity, and my daughter is an HSP. She is a highly sensitive person. She has struggled with dealing with that her entire life because HSPs, they feel everything. It's not the same as an empath. They feel everything and they don't know what to do with it. So they're very high wired,
Right.
you know? Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes.
So the first card is I said, "Oh, this is for both of us, Alexis, because this card is about first of all, you can't deny it's Doe Spirit or Deer Spirit, and we're going to Doe Mountain."
Yeah.
So the second card is from our guides, and the second card is from Raven. And Raven Spirit is all about mystical, magical, unique ways to solve your problems. And we're getting ready to go and climb a mountain where the path is a zigzag up this mountain, and you get to the top and you see a 360 perspective on the world that you cannot see from any other place, right? The third card we draw is Bear Spirit. I had never personally drawn Bear Spirit. I've drawn it for clients, but the energy of Bear Spirit does not come through to me. But it was absolutely for my daughter. And the message of Bear Spirit is setting healthy boundaries, knowing when to hibernate and when to take activity, when to engage in activity, and harmonizing the two. And my daughter has been a bartender for 10 years. So she works at night, she sleeps all day. She works, and she's been out of, out of harmony with a lot of that. That's one of the reasons we went to Sedona. She has left the bartending industry where she's worked for 10 years, and so she's on a new path. So again, the card, just so magical, so magical. We get to the trailhead to climb Doe Mountain, and the sign at the trailhead says Doe Mountain and Bear Mountain. When you are facing Doe Mountain, Bear Mountain is at our back. Okay, you can't make this stuff up.
I just want to, okay, so I got to jump in.
Okay.
Because cannot make this up. No. You just can't. And I love this beautiful story. First, let me acknowledge you as a mom for a minute. I don't think I've done that in all the shows we've done. We've talked about the journey back to me. But this is why you are as good as you are and are able to help so many people. Because there's such a vulnerability of your own that you've shared. And it is that vulnerability that makes us more powerful. See, women don't like to use that word. I don't mind using that word. That is a great word for us to use. And is that inner power that you had and the insight? You not only had the vision, but you took your daughter, and that, I don't care who you are, that could be a very risky endeavor, but you did it because you knew what would happen, because you've been there. See, that's the part that we need to talk about more. Why is working with you so important, and just even speaking with you? Because there is not a single thing that you are going to ask people to do that you haven't done yourself or have not experienced.
True.
That had to be, and I want to hear the rest of the story, but right there, when you're talking about this, I'm thinking, oh my gosh. Bear is not one of my totems, except on the day it became my totem. And I was asked to make a bear drum. Yeah. Well, no, I was asked to make a drum, but there were other skins that I was more drawn to. But that bear skin, that thing jumped up at me like it's nobody's business. And nobody picked it because it wasn't cleaned off. Now, when that happened, did you look at your daughter? Did you go eye to eye? And what did you say?
I just showed her the cards, and I allowed her to have the experience. Of course, I wanted to just jump up and down, because that's what's going on inside, but this was for her. And the whole thing, my intent on taking her to Sedona, of course, Spencer had a hand in the whole thing, and I'm going to tell you another story to prove that.
Yeah.
But but for me, it was I had to surrender. I had to surrender my daughter and my relationship with my daughter to Spencer and Sedona, and trust that the magic would happen, and trust that things like this, these messages and miracles that Spencer talks about, that's the title of his book, Listen to the Silence, Messages and Miracles from Spencer, who never spoke words. Well, Spencer's a spiritual being, always has been, always was, and always will be. And so surrendering to that, and it was hard. We were there for 8 days, and boy, as a mother, and my daughter's 31 years old, and I don't care how old you are, mother daughter, you're shut in a room with your daughter for 8 days. You want to do mother things. You want to say mother things. And locking.
You have to zip that up.
You sure did, because my intent was unite and connect and create a new relationship, have a meaningful relationship, have a meaningful role in her life. And yes, with the help of the spirit cards, with the help of Sedona, the vortices, the climb, the energy, everything, it all was, you can't deny it. You can't deny that spirit is there, and spirit is in all these different forms and fashions, with all these messages, just dropping the breadcrumbs.
Yeah.
And I want my daughter on my path. I would love to have her just, by my side like she was when she was little, wanting to be me and wanting to do everything with me. That's not, I have to let go of that and let her be what she's going to be. And I want our paths to merge, but it is what it is at this point. Beautiful.
It's beautiful. And what it really leads me to is, and let's talk about this before we go to break. I had to have like a similar experience. I'm not a daughter. I did, but I was gifted with a very unexpected experience in 1997. It wasn't my first. I had always been drawn to the unseen, in the spirit of the show today. And someday, I'm hoping that at the end of the 40-day event, that there is a 5-day retreat or something that gets added on to that, because people want, I don't know about you, but I think people listening are going to want to have that daughter experience with you, even though they may not be your daughter, but they're putting themselves in your hand. This is your tribe when people take this. But I love what you're talking about, because you have to prepare for this, right? Journey Back to Me leads to spirit, but we haven't said that. What you just shared, though, is part of Journey Back to Me, but you're doing it. I wish that somehow out of this, that you create mother-daughter retreats. Now, I'm not leaving the men out, folks. There are men that do this, but I'm just talking here, like mother-daughter for the moment.
I love it.
Because it needs to happen now more than ever. Listen, and I know what people have just gone through past 3 years. There is a connect and a disconnect. Yes. And I wonder what would happen if this was created as a mother-daughter event in the most powerful way. Yeah. How did your daughter respond?
I love the idea. My daughter responded beautifully. I can tell you this, it's a 14-hour drive from Texas to Sedona.
Yep.
And I drove to Sedona with a completely different young lady than I drove home from Sedona with.
Oh my gosh, yes. Oh my gosh.
Sure did.
Look, I want to talk about that when we come back, because it is really the essence and the parts that I can sit here and chit chat a little bit about it, but I'm not you. I'm not Gina Gayle Gray. I have experience, but not quite you, the way you have. But I do have this one thing. I am like your daughter. These experiences have transformed me, and I am even today a student, and I love being a student, because I'm being guided. My whole team here is being guided. Jacob, everybody here is being guided. Some days it's not clear, like go there, but the there is not guided. I want to take a short break. And when we come back, I want to talk about, oh man, Spencer has got this thing going on now. I want to talk about what we have to do to prep for this. What is the energetic field? And by the way, I just want to be really clear about something for all you all listening. You've heard me talk about this. Don't make somebody make you do this. We're not talking about that. When we come back, what Gina Gayle is going to do is she's going to walk us through what is the preparation? How do we get ready for this? And then how do you become that young woman that was transformed from when they took the ride out to when they took the ride back? And by the way, we're taking your questions. 1-800-930-2819. Before we go to break, how do people find out about you? How do they find out about Journey Back to Me? How do they find out all we're talking about? How do they work with you one-on-one? Because part of this, which we're going to talk about when we come back, is they can work with you one-on-one. So how can they do all of that now that you're out of the closet?
Yeah. Just go to my website, anywheremindbodysoul.com, and just go to my contact page, send me a message. You have to make the initial contact. I will respond, and we'll go from there.
Yeah. When we come back, let's integrate it all. And what does that even mean? What does it mean? Physical, emotional, mental, soul. What does that mean? What does it mean to integrate that? When we come back, you're going to hear stories about it, because this is not an academic lesson. I couldn't tell you academically what happened to me in the desert, but I could read from my journal. When we come back, we're going to talk about the transformation of both mother and daughter in only the way Gina Gayle Gray can. Let's take a short break. We'll be right back. Hey everyone, welcome back. I just want to say to you all that I have the honor of taking this journey every show with Gina Gayle Gray, and I love it. I mean, this is about savvy Soul-U-Tions, but it's more than that. It is about take the journey back to me, but she is a freedom coach. She is an oracle. And, part of this is when you are called, and I'm just going to say called, you all can fill in the blank, whatever that is that you're going to fill in. When you are called, there is a process to come out. There is a coming out party. In my case, I fought it for years. I just didn't understand how this showed up for me. Imposter theory, I don't care what you call it. That doesn't happen for me much anymore. But today's show is for all of you, because this is really a time where many cannot figure out how to make sense of sense, right? You put a dime on the table and it doesn't look like a dime anymore. For some reason, it just looks like something else. But this is why you have someone, freedom coach, Journey Back to Me, facilitator, creator, is opening the door up to make sure we all know that all the taboo on communicating with spirit, all of the things you may have thought were not right, have been with us as long as breathing has been with us. Gina, can you take a minute again, please? Let's tell people, yes, there's Journey Back to Me, but they can also work with you as a freedom coach. They could also work with you as there's so many ways to do this. I just want to make sure that people know how to get to you.
Yes. Contact me through my website, anywheremindbodysoul.com. I have programs, I have services, private, group. The journey back to me is something that is worth taking solo, and it's worth taking as a group. The price is the same. I decided a long time ago that it doesn't matter. Some people, especially when they take it the first time, they don't want to share. They're not ready to share with community. And so doing a private, I've had several people who do a private one-on-one journey back to me. And that's available too. And during that, you just get all the support that I can offer in any area of your life. It comes up in 40 days. Things come up. And what I do is I guide you back to you, your own Soul-U-Tions, which are within you, which is why the last 10 days of the journey back to me is focusing on your soul. And once you end that 40 days and you have reunited with your own soul, what now?
Yeah.
That's when it gets really interesting.
Yeah. Thank you for that. Now, look, there is a journey and there is a process. We're going to talk about what you said about here was your daughter in the car driving out. It wasn't the same person coming back. And I want to just be clear because we're talking about the integration of physical, emotional, mental, and soul. The physical part is you got to get in the car and you got to go, you got to drive. But there's also the preparation that leads to this. And I would love for you to talk a little bit about how you prepared for it, but also what we need to be mindful about, especially about our energetic field, especially about how to clear it. And then once that happens, how do we connect? How do we connect with the unseen?
Oh my goodness. It starts with connecting with the unseen. See, we've had it all backwards. And the greatest chance for success is setting a positive intention, setting a clear intention. I don't care what the journey is. I don't care if it's the journey back to me or if it's a journey to Sedona with your daughter. Setting a clear intention and spending some time in silence, knowing that you're supported by spirit in that. And for me, the clear intention that I set for that event, that retreat, that getaway, was to deepen my connection with her and support her in the way that she needed. And that meant I had to put aside what I wanted to do. Okay, I've been an addictions counselor. I've been a freedom coach. I've been all these different things in my lifetime. I've been in service to others in all these different capacities. All I want to do with my daughter is be her mother. And the same thing, I had the same issue going on with my relationship with Spencer, because Spencer became a medical patient. He hated those words. He became a medical patient those last 7 years. And so to keep him alive those last 7 years was I had to become, I had to know what the respiratory therapists know. I had to know what the pulmonologists know. I had to know how to operate a ventilator. I had to learn all of these things. I had to maintain a supply of equipment and materials. And I learned very quickly that we needed a backup for everything. So it was intense. And when I started making his food and decided that making his food was a good idea too, that was my days turned into 24-hour days of making sure that he had everything to keep him alive, literally for 7 years. And at the end, and the thing that got to me the most was, the thing I cried out about was, I just wanted to be his mother. When do I just get to be his mother?
Right.
I'm the business manager. I'm the medical overseer. I'm the teacher of all of these things. I'm always the enemy, because nobody liked working for me because they just couldn't do it just right, because he would call to me even though he had 2 attendants at his side because they didn't listen to the silence. So the same thing with my daughter. I just want to be her mother. And so setting that intention, I needed help. I needed help from my spirits, guides, and guards. So I called upon them. And of course, Spencer is at the helm of that. He's directing those spirits, guides, and guards. So I made a new playlist for the road trip to keep myself awake, because my daughter, she falls asleep in the vehicle. We horse showed together for her youth years. I drove a 450 truck with a 42-foot horse trailer with 4 horses in it down the road, and she would be asleep by the time we got out of the driveway. So I know her. I know that's what's going to happen. So I made this 447-song playlist to keep myself alive, keep myself awake, and keep us alive. and so we're headed down the road, and I always know Spencer's going to hijack, because he has the tokens for the cosmic jukebox in the sky, always, and he helps me put these playlists together clearly. So again, this is another Absolutely, you cannot deny the magic of these messages from spirit. So we're driving down 287 and we're going through a lot of little towns before we get on the main highway 40 to head west. And so you're going 80 or 70 or whatever, and then you hit a little town, you have to slow down. That happens over and over again. So we're driving along, and I hear the lyrics of the song. I hear "Hey Mama," and I'm like, "Hey Mama," of course that's going to catch my attention. "Hey Spencer," and I look down at the display of the song playing. The song is called "Hey Mama." It is being sung by Heather Headley, and the sign entering the town is "Welcome to Headley."
Okay, so let's say it again. You can't make this up.
I know. And
You
then I
can't.
hear Spencer say, "In case you ever doubt me," it's just stay awake. I'm here. I'm here to assist. And so that happened. And then later on in the trip, we're 2 hours outside of Sedona. And Alexis has been sleeping the entire time because she just worked her last shift at the bar. She is exhausted mentally, physically, emotionally, everything. I get it. But I was exhausted by that time too. And I was doing a detox and cleanse. So caffeine was not supposed to be coming into my body, but I was not
Right.
feeling good. So I was getting angry, and I thought, no, I cannot already be angry. We're not even to Sedona yet. So I start begging in my mind, "Spencer, help me. I need your help." The next song that plays is Sade. And smooth operator, she's got this silky voice and stuff, and it pissed me off. And I said, "Spencer, I'm falling asleep here. Really? Come on." But it all was, there was a method to his madness. It calmed me down. I paid attention. I listened to those lyrics. The very next song in my 447 song playlist, you never know what you're going to get. The very,
Exactly. That sounds like mine.
yeah, yeah, yeah. The very next song was Charlie Puth, "We Don't Talk Anymore." I listened to the lyrics of that song crying, crying because it was so meaningful. And when that song finished, I nudged Alexis and I woke her up and I said, "Alexis, I know you don't think that you can do anything to help me stay awake. And I know you're not going to drive, but we have 2 hours to get there and I want to arrive alive. And if you will just talk to me, I don't care what you talk to me about. I don't care what question you ask me. I don't care. You can talk to me about the sky. You can talk to me about anything but the inside of your eyelids. Just engage me in communication because it will awaken my mind and I will be able to stay awake. I cannot do any more caffeine." She set her chair up, sat up, started asking me silly questions. Just random. We talked for 2 hours into Sedona. She got her phone out. She took pictures and videos of driving into Sedona. It was a game changer. And Spirit stepped in and laid out the roadmap for
Yeah,
this
you was
is
so meant to do that. You was so meant to have that conversation before,
yeah,
right?
yeah,
That's what I love about this. There
yeah,
was a connection that had to happen,
yeah.
and it came in this form, spirit
Yes,
directed, right? Did I get
because
that right?
yes, because I was already ready to crash the train or get off that train and say this is not going to work. This never. All of those, um, all of those old tapes that play. You go to the default and those old messages play, and the FUD. We were just talking about
Yes.
our personal FUD. We hear FUD all the time. If you're in the stock or if you're in the crypto world, like I am, they're always talking about that's just FUD, fear, uncertainty, and doubt. Yeah,
Thank you.
it's fed out there a lot. Well, guess what? We have our own personal FUD. And I am learning to shut mine down. When that FUD shows up, it's like, I recognize that. That is fear, uncertainty, and doubt, personal, and I'm not going to listen to it. So, yeah, that's what would have happened had Spirit not intervened and said, "Listen, we don't talk anymore. Just ask your daughter to talk to you in a very kind, nurturing way," and it worked. It
Mhm.
worked. Um,
Wow.
and
How do
yeah,
you, how would you, I mean, let's talk about this for a minute because I was talking again with somebody earlier. And, when somebody tells you their story, you can hear all the opportunities to do what you just did. But we We have to help folks today because too busy, blah, 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 blah. You are ready to bail, right? But you are aware enough to hear that, and you heard that, and you shifted it.
Yeah,
Now, journey back to me, they're going to learn that. Working with you as freedom coach, they're going to learn that. But this particular point right here is so important to make. And I'll tell you what I'm struck by about it is we're talking about what you say are the ways you connect: awareness, acknowledgement, and answering, and then continuing the conversation. That is literally what happened in the car. And yet, this is the model also you use to help people understand how easily and quickly they can connect, right?
absolutely,
Mm-hmm.
absolutely. That's my guidance for
Yeah.
how do we tune into spirit and how do we pay attention to spirit. I mean, we tune in. We talk about that in the journey back to me when we get to the emotional being 10-day period. Tune in, go inside, listen inside. Tune up is next when you get to the mind. Turn the frequency up. You're listening to this station that's at a certain frequency of what's being fed into your mental being. Tune up a notch. And then to the soul being, tune out. And I'm not talking about tune out, part of it is, yeah, tune out the nonsense, tune out the chaos and the garbage, tune out and beyond. When you tune out and beyond, that's when you really tap into the frequencies and the messages that are coming from all the spiritual aspects of us, because they are us and we are them, and we have a right to have all of that information, to remember all of that information from whatever source it comes at you. But it starts with awareness that it's out there. And then when you do receive a message, acknowledging that. I believe they do enjoy being acknowledged. I know
Oh,
Spencer does.
yeah.
Yeah, now when someone will let me know, hey, guess what? I think this was Spencer, or guess what Spencer did? I'm on the edge of my seat because it's all part of his book. It's like, yes, these are the messages and miracles. Thank you for acknowledging that he showed up, because when you do and then you answer him, then you can continue the conversation. It turns into a two-way conversation. And that's that is how it always works with spirit. But unfortunately, what the egregore of religion teaches is there's a lot of emphasis on talking to God, prayer circles, prayer warriors, pray, 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 pray.
One way, one
Where's the listening?
unidirectional,
Where's the listening?
right?
Because they're all out there: spirit, God, source, the God of your understanding, whatever. It all leads to the same greatness. Uh, bombard with prayer, and they're waiting for that moment to jump in. When are you going to ask, or when are you going to listen? That's the two-way communication part. So meditation is the listening, and it's both. Yes, pray, put your requests, do your honor, do ceremony, do ritual, but don't forget to stop and
Mm-hmm.
listen.
Yeah. See, what you just said is so important because we have to really shift the paradigm here. And I want to take a moment to talk about that because, you're going to take us on a journey of how to become more aware, how to become more aware of spirit speaking to you. Because, you and I have had a few bumps in the road that we realized that I can remember being at a point of desperation. And that point of desperation is what basically led me to say, what I'm doing right now is just not working. I'm just, banging my head up against this wall is just not working. I need something new. I need a new awareness and new acknowledgement. But I really want to talk to you about this because this is something that I was not able to do alone. I really had to work with other people. That's what I think you're offering people today. You're
Mm-hmm.
saying, yes, you might be able to do this alone, but I don't know about you. That was never going to be my journey. I had to work with the Sidonia Cahill, other people that showed up in my life that I was awake enough to actually say yes to.
Yeah.
Um, what can we say to folks to, to just pay attention to the signs, right? And then give themselves permission to have a conversation.
Yes, yes. And in the journey back to me, it's a step by step path. It's a process. It's your path. I just guide you. And when it gets dark and when it gets rocky and when it gets a little rough, I'm just there with encouragement and support and maybe the light if you've gotten off the path. It starts with the physical. And the physical is important, even though we now know it's 1% of the importance and 99% is all of the other that you can't see. The physical is very important. So making it through that first 10 days, the second 10 days, the emotional being, which is invisible, but very powerful and very important. Talking about what am I here to feel, understanding that emotions are evoked all the time with every thought we have, and they are to be felt, which is flow. Flow is so important. It's related to water. If something in a water system is not flowing, I don't care if it's a plugged sink in your house, the kitchen sink, the bathroom sink, the bathtub. If it becomes the toilet not flowing, you call for help, right?
That's right.
Don't wait till it becomes that.
Yeah, like my heat is not working, so I'm having
Yeah.
I put the call out.
Yes. So don't wait until it's a disaster, because disasters stink. And flow is so important, because once you that's what the emotional being is, and that's what the feeling of emotions is all about, is keeping things flowing in our energetic field. That's so important. Then when we get to the mental 10-day period, cleaning up the thinking, learning how to separate and shut down the FUD and all of the old programs. What if you never cleaned out your junk mailbox in your email? And how good do you feel when you do? And what mysteries you see in there and go, oh my gosh.
Totally right.
Yeah, so that's what the mental being 10-day period is just acknowledging we have a lot of junk mail running around in our mental being, and why are we allowing that to take up so much space and create so much chaos? Fourth 10-day period, we get into the soul, and the soul is where we really start considering how important it is to connect with others. Like I said when we talked in our last episode, Spencer, his existence was 23 years in a body that was only soul. All he could accomplish was being. He could not do. And so the power of that, I realize that now, the power of that existence in his many journeys is, let me go down there and play for 23 years as a being who can only be. How fun will that be? Well, he picked his people well. If he had not picked his people well,
I was just going to ask about that.
ooh, it would not have been enjoyment. And he had a lot of enjoyment in that existence.
Yeah.
And there's so much power in that, because it was not easy to pull off. So the journey back to me, those four, if we were looking at doing a jigsaw puzzle, okay, those four aspects are the four corner pieces. When you do a jigsaw puzzle, you dump it out, you turn all the pieces over, and you start with the border first. I like to start with the four corners first. So there's a method to the right, to the process. So each of those four corners, okay, it's not, you don't stop there. Each of those four corners, those fill in. So when you have finished the puzzle, when you finish the journey back to me, that puzzle is complete. Now, what now? So that first time through the journey back to me, you have discovered, what am I here to do? What am I here to feel? What am I here to think? And what am I here to be? The puzzle is complete. What now? Oh, we do it again. Why? Why am I here to do what I now know I'm here to be, feel, and think?
Yeah.
And I love to guide people on this, because I'm on the journey too. And the path that I've chosen for my existence this time is, I see there's two paths. The path up and to the right, it gets broader and more expansive as we go. The other path, and a lot of people have chosen the other path, and it just becomes more narrow and narrow and narrow and narrow. There's more restrictions, there's more, compliance, the shoe gets tighter and tighter, which is why Ram Dass would say, you know, death is like taking off a tight fitting shoe.
Yeah.
Well, if you found yourself on that path that ends in that really tight tunnel, yeah, you're sure ready to get out of that thing, because I'm choosing the other path where it's ever expanding. And that's when we get into the spirit and we understand the importance of the spiritual aspect of us, because we are all that. We
Yeah.
are all that
Yeah.
and more.
And you know, this is what I love about this is, and what you've covered here today is you really laid out what the breadcrumbs look like, but you've laid it out in such a realistic way. First of all, I think it's so important to acknowledge both courage on your part and your daughter's part to go on that journey. People may be thinking, ah, yeah, of course we expect Gina Gayle to do that. No, no, you know, this is something you step out and do when you hear to do it, and you trust that what brought you to that point and what you've learned and Spencer's guidance is always going to be there to get us what we need. I mean, thank you for sharing this beautiful story. And, you know, please again tell people how they can work with you. And I'd love to know your closing message.
Well, go to my website, anywheremindbodysoul.com. Find me. I will be in Puerto Vallarta starting tomorrow, and we'll be creating some retreats. And I love your suggestion to create a mother-daughter retreat, because yes, connecting with our children, connecting with our sisters, whatever, maybe your sister's biological, maybe your sister's just your sister, but let's create something and rebuild these connections. My closing message is, when you work with me, what I'm going to strive to do is ask, listen, and solve. And what I will ask you to do is decide, commit, and succeed. And when we can make that agreement and partner together,
Yeah.
I can guide you in a lot of different ways, energetically, spiritually, and physically. Physical is important too. I'm 61, healthy, always been healthy, and intend to stay healthy. So I have a lot of tools in my bag.
Yeah. And you know what it is? It's all part of connecting the dots and putting the pieces together. It is the part that you so beautifully explained when you shared the story of deciding to do this with your daughter, taking the trip, how to take the journey, paying attention to the spirit, how to open up a doorway to begin the journey, right? Even though you didn't have to get there to do it, and then to watch the beautiful transformation that happened.
Yeah. Begin the journey. That's the most important
Yeah.
first step. And
Yeah.
the first step can start today.
It is, if you're listening to this, it's already started. Please tell people again how they can work with you, how they can find out more about what we're talking about. And thank you so much.
Thank you. Anywheremindbodysoul.com. Send me a message and I will answer you back.
For those of you out there, you know, we're not talking about something that you'll do with Gina Gray like you hear a lot of people talk about. We're literally talking about a process that she's developed, Journey Back to Me, a 40-day journey where you get one-on-one. This is so unique. You're going to get what you need to literally journey and transform and change you for the rest of your life. Gina, thank you so much for everything.
Thank you. Peace to you.
Man, it is the way to go. Jacob, thank you so much for pushing all the right buttons. And I want to thank you, the best audience on the planet. You know, you all have asked to bring Gina on to talk about this, even for things that you're not aware of. You have said to us, we don't know. I just know it's not right. I just know this is not right. I just know I don't feel right. I'm not good in my skin. I just know. She's sharing you her own journey, what it was like for her, and how you can take this journey back to me. Thank you, everyone. We'll see you next time.
Thank you for listening to Savvy Soul-U-Tions with me, Gina Gayle Gray. Take the journey back to me with a freedom coach and oracle on transformationtalkradio.com. Come back every fourth Monday at 11 a.m. Pacific to further your progress towards rediscovery. You can also join my 40-day Journey Back to Me program to unlock your true potential and reunite with your soul. There's no time to waste. I'll share Spinspirations, which are messages from a spirit named Spencer, and lead you toward your Soul-U-Tions. Go to anywheremindbodysoul.com and ask for a complimentary mind, body, and soul session. That's anywheremindbodysoul.com.